And I believe we're live. So hello, Friday night people. So based on our designs, I'm always going to be looking at what is the best possible view for you. In this case, it's an overhead because today we're going to be taking napkins and we're going to decoupage napkins onto a carvable pumpkin form. And the primary reason for doing this is my daughter has asked for one so that she has a beach theme in her house. And we're going to be using this on a future project. So we're going to start the labor part on prepping our pumpkin and getting our napkin onto the pumpkin so that when it comes time, our pumpkin's ready for the next design. So this is kind of like a 2-for. So this is part 1, and then we'll be doing part 2 later. So before I get started, I want to welcome those of you that are joining us for the very first time. I know people are saying that Facebook's been kind of on Facebook Lives today. So if you find yourself freezing or you can't log in or it's glitchy, log out, log back in. I know with the storms there on the East Coast, it might pose a little bit of an issue. Let me make sure I'm up and in here as well. I don't know why it's not letting me in to where I want to be.
Hi Gail, hi Angela, hi
there we
Pam,
go.
Hi Deborah, Rita,
How about a
Trish, Anna, and Sandy.
Facebook just needs to stop changing things.
Hi Richard.
I'm not even getting it.
Hi Annette.
I think it's because it's darn it. Okay. Yeah, it's just being temperamental right now.
Hi Cheryl, hi Debbie, hi Irina.
There we go. Okay. It was going through an update and I'm like, no, do the update later. Okay, so if you're new, come in, say hi. We'd like to welcome you. Hopefully you can find a crafting person here that lives close to you. If you like this design, and you can do this on almost any surface with napkins, feel free to click that share button down below and share this to your page. So much easier to find rather than trying to dig through my videos. Ooh, really super quick. Totally forgot to do this. We've been talking about this for a very long time. It's all about branding, right? That's what I always tell my group. It's all about branding. So welcome to KatsCreationsNMore. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So, napkins. Whoever thought you could do a decoupage on a napkin, or how popular napkins would become? You can find these virtually everywhere. If they're not available in your local stores, you can go online to Etsy, and there are a ton of retailers that are happy to sell you a handful of napkins so that you can have beautiful designs like this. And so we're going with a beach theme. This is mermaids and sea turtles and fish and jellyfish and starfish. If I open this up, you'll see that the design pretty much continues, even though on this side of the napkin they're all upside down. However, it is a continuous form in the design going both ways. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to do this. I'm only going to work on a quarter of the napkin. So the first thing I need to do is go over the materials. So you will need 1 napkin. You will need a pumpkin in the size of your choice. I prefer the carvable ones because you can do so many other things with them. I picked white because it will match our beach design a little nicer. Paper plate for your Mod Podge that is going to go in here. It makes cleanup so much easier. You will need a paintbrush, a smaller, thinner paintbrush, a pair of scissors, a cup with some water in it, and a blow dryer. That's it. That's all you need. Okay, first step is going to be to cut out the design that we want on our napkin. And I'm going to kind of try and make sure that I can get most of what I want here. So her hand kind of supersedes the outside of this napkin, which is going to kind of be a little bit of a pain. I'm trying to just stay right in here. We'll try to get this cut out just like that. We'll go up and around right here. A little bit around the turtle.
If you want to just cut out the turtle, you can just cut out the turtle.
If you just want to cut out the individual things, you could cut out the individual pieces. So I am just trying to keep most of my design intact. Let's go ahead and cut this one in. Then we'll go up. Right there. Okay. So that has how I was able to separate most of the design. There's a touch that kind of goes right on the crack, but for the most part, we've got everything in place. And some napkins are 3-ply, some napkins are 2-ply. You need to get down to the single most layer where your print is. The easiest way to do this is just to kind of wet your fingers and go right here to the corner. I'll try this again. There we go. You can see we've separated the layer here. Because most of the time when you're buying these from somebody else, you don't have the original package it came in. Sometimes even the original package, to crop here, sometimes the original, like in this case, this is a cat napkin. It does state on the back it's 2-ply, so that you know when you're going to separate, you're only going to be pulling off one layer plus the original design. These, because I went through another manufacturer, I don't know if we have another ply on here, and we do. So this was a 3-ply. So look what happens when I go and carefully pull this. You almost get a translucent layer. So here are the 2 that I just pulled off. You can go ahead and throw those away. And now we're ready to go ahead and start. What you're going to do is look on your pumpkin and try to find the best possible area. And it sucks because I've got one with a little bit of a dent in it, but I like this side. I'm trying to keep it away from the seam side where they basically took 2 sections and glued them together. So I'm going to go right in here. And the first thing you're going to want to do, first of all, is we're going to prep a little bit of the area of our napkin. Now, Hobby Lobby has a device that's known as a water pin. But in all honesty, all it is a pin that holds water that you can basically draw along the outside, which is exactly what I'm going to do with a paintbrush. We're going to kind of dip this in water, and I'm going to go around some of these edges, and you'll see that it's going to kind of, yeah, just kind of, well, I need this side. It doesn't dissolve, but what I want to do is on some of these edges, I want to take that straight line, especially down here. I want to get rid of the straight line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rough my edge right here so that you get more of a, like of a torn or feathered edge. Like this. So I'm just taking the end of my nail and just kind of pulling away that straight edge. It looks nicer when you're not dealing with straight edges. And I'm not worried about, oh, my napkin's all wet now. That's okay. We're just going to try to feather this edge in.
Kathy asks, do you paint the pumpkin? Yeah,
you can. I'm not going to paint. What do you mean?
You'll Mod Podge.
Right, but I'm not going to. You could also paint your pumpkin, but I'm not going to be doing that.
Now this one came white, Kathy, or like an off-white.
Right. So I'm going to.
I think these were from Joann's.
I think these ones came from Hobby Lobby this year. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going in and just roughing up the edge. This has got a little bit of this plant here. So I think I'm going to take this entire section out up to the mermaid. So just like this, I'm going to go ahead and remove that whole section. So it'll create a nicer finish. I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that entire starfish off. And then we will grab this. I'm going to go ahead and pull it down here. We just want it to look It looks nicer when it's feathered. So I'm just going right along the line, and you can see how the water just absorbs in there. So I'm going to take all this out. I want to have my fish, but I don't want to see a straight line. Because the pumpkin is not the exact same color, as it's not as white as this napkin is. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to work this last edge right here. I'm going to take all this in, go all the way along here.
If there's anyone new, let us know what city and state you're from. Shows that I love the design on that napkin.
Isn't this pretty? I like the fact that this has an iridescent metallic tone to it. So I'm just really trying to get away from any straight edges.
Jonas, do you think you could use tissue paper?
It
has a design.
Yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. I'm just trying to feather this last section right here.
Irvina, yeah, she got that at Halloween.
Oops, got one last piece right here. And I'm really working around her hand because that was that extension into the top piece.
Thank you, Rita, for 100 stars.
So we are up to, I believe, close to $50 in our stars fundraising, and that's going towards the animal shelters for that whole Betty White thing. So if you hit just below comments to the right, you have a little stars icon. You can pick up the, click the stars. It's equivalent to 1 cent, so every star is 1 cent. So we are matching whatever you guys put in there for stars money. So if you send 50 stars, it's 50 cents. And whatever we get to at the end of January is what we will double and present to our local animal shelter here. So you're going to be using Mod Podge in the matte finish. You don't want to use gloss, especially if your pumpkin is not a gloss pumpkin. It's more of a matte finish. So shake it really good.
Kathy, where'd you get the napkins?
I went on Etsy. Believe it or not, I was just looking at paper napkins as my search criteria. And you can type in mermaid napkins and see what pops up. I've had these though for a couple of years. So we're going to go ahead and pour this out.
Thank you, Joe. Send it 50 stars.
There we go. So you want to make sure that you always wipe the lid off on your Mod Podge so that it doesn't seal the lid closed. So we are going to be placing ours right here. So if I look at how my napkin's going to sit, I need it to come pretty low because we're going to be cutting the top off. So I kind of like how that's going to sit. And then I know that I need to stop right here before where it gets the seam. Thank you. And then this one a little bit further. So we're going to go a little bit further than right in here. So that gives me a indicator. We're going to take our flat paintbrush and we're going to lightly paint our Mod Podge on. You don't want to go too thick because then it becomes too hard to dry. So I'm going to go pretty low. And I kind of put a little indent where I needed to stop. So we'll go right here, all the way to the bottom, thin layer. And all this is meant to do is create a base. It needs to go all the way over here for our napkin to stick to. We're not actually going to be sealing this just yet. Let me grab a bowl. So I find that a bowl helps hold your pumpkin so that you can work. And now we're going to take this and we're going to start at the bottom. And I'm just going to lay this right on top. And very gently, you're going to try to lay this on your design. Don't pull too hard because it will tear your napkin. So you're just working from one area to the bottom. So just like this, oh so gently. Just kind of work everything to the outside. You're not going to get a perfect, like when you lay it on there, it's going to be just perfect. You're not going to have any wrinkles or any imperfections. You're going to have some slight folds because we're putting this on a rounded surface.
Thank you, Cheryl, for sending 340 stars.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, I love the little fish at the bottom. And I need just a touch more right here. Okay. And we're just working the design onto our pumpkin. If you need to kind of lift it, you can do so.
Cheryl, that's true. She said, I like a few wrinkles. It looks more vintage to me.
Yeah, but you know, our goal, obviously, if you have like the mermaid, you kind of don't want to have a crease in her face, or if we have a fish, you kind of don't want that there. Okay, now it's like the whole bottom looks great. Now I've got to get the top all finished to where I want it to be. And I'm not worried about these little pieces right here. Those are so cute. I'm gonna love this. By the time we finish it and get it all finished, it's gonna look amazing. Now I've got to get all this up here. Down pat. And you can see how, because we're dealing with round pumpkin, we need to come up just a little bit higher here. If we need to, we're going to make some slight adjustments so that our mermaid looks more perfect than she probably is. We have to fold right there.
Richard said, it makes me want to do this with fall leaves or leaf napkin. Yeah,
oh yeah.
They're fun to do.
The whole fall thing is just gorgeous to do. Especially if you're really good at, you know, tinting things. You could tint your pumpkin to match some of your, like if I wanted to, I could just streak this with like a watercolor wash in blues and teals. And that would help kind of hide everything on our pumpkin.
So if you have large leaves too, you can just cut them out.
Yes.
And just have leaves all around the whole thing.
Exactly. Okay, so now that that's all on there, now we're going to go ahead and take a layer of this, and we're going to start on one end, and we're going to start from the middle, and we're going to brush up. Okay, you'll start to see where all this, like where all the folds are. So I had to be inventive and just kind of create a fold so that I could get my mermaid to sit at the very top. Again, thin layer, doesn't need to be thick. We're going to do a total of 3 layers on here. So from the middle up, and then from the middle down.
Cheryl said she had the same problem doing Easter eggs.
What's that?
It's a strange shape to
yeah, because we're taking a flat design and trying to put it on a round.
3D surface.
Right. If you notice, when people take design transfers, like people who are really good at Cricut will tell you when they're adding that design to a cup, it's not flat, it's like a curve or an arc. Okay, so we're just going to put this on. You want to be careful when you're applying it so you don't tear the napkin, because you saw how thin the layer is. Okay. Technically, according to the directions on the package, we would have to wait 24 hours before we can move on to our steps. This is where the blow dryer comes in handy. I'm gonna make sure I don't spill my water. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be working out those wrinkles in our design to get a more, I hate to say perfect, the look that we desire. How about that? So I'm gonna put this on hot.
Yeah, you could use a heat gun too, Richard. Yep.
I just deviate away from the heat gun because it gets a little too hot. So blow dryer on low. What you want to do is you want to dry it to where that opaque is gone, because then that tells you that you are dry. Because you need it to be dry. It should be tacky, but not wet. You can do this on pieces of wood, like you could whitewash a piece of wood and do a really nice floral box. Yes. You're not a Canadian, but you were relating from that place of familiarity, right? So I've got a couple places where maybe I did it a little thicker, so I just got to wait for these areas right here to kind of dry. Otherwise, we'd have to wait our full 24 hours. So it's just where the folds have a tendency of gathering. Your Mod Podge is gonna like kind of pool in those areas. So we need those to dry. So you can see it right in here. A little bit in the center. You can tell because when you take your finger and test it, it's still really tacky. We need it to be mostly dry. Not completely, but mostly. And I have this on low just so you can hear me. The bottom half turned out great. Almost done. Right over her little crown. I have an air bubble in here, but that's okay. It's funny because I was editing videos today and I came across a picture I had taken back in 2020 of doing something like this, and I was like, why did I never follow through on that? So there's where I have an air bubble right in there. Can you do me a favor, Steve? Can you grab me my straight, like a straight pin? Normally I have one stuck in my mat, but I don't have any. Usually I always have one stuck into my little placemat up here. I'll get this right here on her dress. Not dress, but the texture on her. Perfect. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, what you're going to do is go around the outside of your pumpkin, and where you have those wrinkles, you're going to press down on them. Thank you. And just make sure we have really good coverage. And I'm going to take a straight pin because I have a air bubble right here. So I'm just going to pop a small hole in that, and that'll allow me to go ahead and push that air bubble out. So we're just going to work on this and push all those creases down. We won't get them all out, but we will get a good portion of them out. So using this area right here on your, between your thumb on the palm, you can really push down.
Margarita asked, can you do this on canvas? Absolutely.
I think you can.
Almost any surface you can Mod Podge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it says, this doesn't really say what surfaces this will go on. Use on most surfaces. It doesn't state specifically, but yeah, try it. What I would do is get a small piece of canvas and go small before you do something major, you know. And so what we want to also do is make sure that those line indentations on our pumpkin are also, you know, that we have the nice grooves going inside those as well. But this allows us to really work out all the wrinkles by pressing all those down, especially that area where I did the overlap to get the two to turn out. Let's get a little bit right up in here. I have a little bit that, just let that one dry while I'm working on the other parts of this design where the edge of my napkin is just kind of slightly lifting.
And if you wanted to, you could use the other 3 corners of the napkin and continue the pattern all the way around.
Oh yeah, you could keep going and just overlap it slightly and just make it all go, which is I think what I'm going to end up going. Or what I may do for her is give her a beach look. Well, this one's going to be beach. She wants beach for her thing. I'll end up doing her another one for Halloween and fall. Just because a lot of places now aren't carrying the Halloween.
It would be pretty, like you said, they paint it like a soft blue or something too, and have like little streaks in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like do a wash. Fortunately, or unfortunately, that's not where my talent lies. I'm starting to learn where I'm going to have to just default to people whose that's in their wheelhouse. So I'm just taking and pulling, making sure that my design is going all the way in that little groove so that we can still see the ribs of the pumpkin in our design. So I'm going to work this area out a little bit, but it's kind of interesting because we don't really have a huge overlap where I did that fold.
Margarita, yeah, we had some pumpkins left over from Christmas, and this one was actually already pre-painted. So a good thing is maybe when next October comes up, you know, buy some spares.
Yes.
They might even have available to buy now somewhere.
You might be able to look at like I don't know, craft wholesaler. Just look up carvable pumpkins or carvable craft pumpkins. You might be able to find them now. I mean, there's people who do acrylic pours on this. So you could do an acrylic pour and then come back in and add this as well. I don't know how well it would, with the transparency of this napkin, I don't know how well the areas that are white would allow that to show through, or would it show through? Okay. You can kind of feel the wrinkles, and it just allows you to kind of just push them out, push any of the air bubbles out. So your goal is to push and not slide your napkin. Just kind of collapse your wrinkles. What do you guys think so far? It looks so pretty. And this is why we do that little faded, kind of little torn area on our napkins, is so that we don't have that straight line, that we could totally tell that that's what the napkin was.
Orion Trading Company has them.
Do they?
Yep.
How big are they though?
They are smaller. They're 5 inches.
Those are really small. Okay, let's go ahead and put another coat on, and then we're going to do the same thing. Total 3 coats. So always starting from the middle, brush up. And now you can see we don't have as many wrinkles to work out. Trying to get that one area up at the top. We needed to work on. And then we're going to go to the bottom.
I have a set of 7 pieces, which are large to small, for $12.99.
Okay, so we're going to work on this. Again, make sure it's not overly thick. So just pull all that Mod Podge way down. This way, when we go to hit it with the blow dryer, just gotta make sure it's in those cracks. Okay, I'm gonna blow dry this one more time. So we are going to be doing a floral centerpiece with this, but it'll all be ocean themed. So like I said, the first step is just to decorate the outside. So we're just waiting for that opaque color to kind of turn and darken. Still have some wrinkles here I need to work on. It looks so pretty when I look at it in the tablet. I was like, wow, looks like I got talented and actually painted or drew. We've got a wrinkle in here we need to get out. So anytime you're dealing with anything when it comes to crafting, even when you're using the E6000 and it says you've got to let it go, you know, put it outside, let it dry for 24 hours, just use a blow dryer on it. And get that tackiness and that stickiness out, and then just let it dry. Still too sticky. Yes, by all means. If you have these, I mean, I get the orange for fall. I'll get the black for Halloween, and then I get a lot of the white to do year-round things, or just if your napkins happen to have a lot of white in them, you might want to have a white background to start with. Oh, it's really taking this top part a while, especially right there. This is that folded area, so it's a little thicker right there. Okay, we will continue to work out our wrinkles. I know, I was like trying to think, I'm like, well, do I want to do it like, do a fall design on the back and then do a summer design on the front? And I was like, no, because the florals that'll go on the inside, unless we make them to where they can easily be taken out, then you could stretch, you know, then you can switch them out for the season. But most of the time when I use these pumpkins, it's, I fill them all the way. This is why the bowl helps sometimes. Just pressing all of my wrinkles. Trying to get them to adhere to the pumpkin underneath. I love the fish at the bottom. Again, let's make sure we've got that indent. Going in our design all the way up. Trying to make sure I keep these in the frame.
Yeah, it's just at the bottom of the frame.
God gave us the most amazing tools. Our fingertips, our palms of our hands. It's a lot easier when you start with very small designs. Like if you just wanted to put sea turtles on here and then come back in and layer other items, you might want to start with a smaller design. And you can almost feel your wrinkles just kind of like give way underneath your fingertips. And you know that they've just kind of either overlapped other portions of the napkin or they've lain flat. This is all turning out really super nice.
How many layers do you have to put on?
3 layers. 3 layers is good. At that point, then you've really got a good seal on it. And then I wouldn't seal it until you're completely done. Like if you're going to do this and maybe put another one, you know, and keep going all the way around and finish the whole design, the same thing. Finish the whole process all the way through. And then when you're completely done, then get a water-based, clear, non-yellowing lacquer spray and spray the whole thing. And that will help keep, you know, if it gets wet from the shower or, you know, if they have it outside because they forget to bring it in and the weather turns adverse and starts to rain. Not that they meant to leave it out. It'll offer some protection over not doing it at all.
Kathy, so you're going to cover the whole pumpkin?
I know I will go at least halfway. I'm going to ask her what she wants done. She may choose to have like a, I don't know. I would just keep going if it was me. And maybe I will. But ain't no one got time to watch this 4 more times. Yeah. But I definitely will come back and show you what it looks like. And what you'll do when you're piecing your next layer in, like let's say it's this, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to, you know, try to get your design as close to possible as you can to the other one. You know, you don't have to be specific on the color match. Like if you didn't want to try to put these two together and match them, just go ahead and then just put your turtle, you know, right in the mix. It doesn't have to be a perfect match. So that's why we've kind of torn the edges so that it's got a, not a straight edge, but it's more unfinished. Okay, let's put our final coat on. So middle, up. You know, you might even want to start doing it in smaller pieces, like as you work around. It's entirely up to you. If you thought that this went on easy and you're like, oh, I could just go ahead and match the other side, by all means, continue doing it.
How many of y'all have actually used done decoupage or used the Mod Podge?
Okay.
Organized.
Let's go ahead and do this. I'm having to flip it up because there's parts of my design that require me to go up under a layer. Okay, let's dry this final layer. So see how it's opaque right now? You'll be able to tell when it's dry, when it darkens. And most of the time, if you're going to purchase your napkins from a vendor, you might purchase like 4 or 5. That's usually what they sell them in.
Thank you, Margarita. You have a very beautiful body.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah, it's our youngest.
Yeah.
23rd birthday.
It's our first birthday where she's not with us. She is in Oklahoma, believe it or not. So it's a way different experience for us as a family to not be all together. Because usually we are on birthdays or major holidays like Christmas. Now I can't wait to put the florals in it. And I don't have the florals yet. I'll be going down to our wholesaler and looking for things specifically that have this ocean palette, things that are navy blue, teal, turquoise, silver, maybe a little bit of gold or white or beige. So see how a bowl helps you to keep it from rolling around? Little tacky right there. I love this because it has so much. It has seashells and fish and starfish, and turtles, seaweed. Yeah. So prayers for those of you that are going to be impacted by this winter storm that's due to impact the east. I think it's from North Carolina upwards. But you guys are supposed to be getting like 4 inches of snow an hour. So it's going to be crazy. Hope you guys all stay safe. That if you guys lose power, you have backup power available. And that it's not out for a very long period of time. Especially being cold.
Carolyn, can you put the floor on the top? Or
you'll
cut the stem out.
Yeah. we will cut
Small
the
cut.
stem out right in here, and then we'll fill that full of florals. So it's nice when it's nice and hot like this. And that's why, too, using the blow dryer helps, is because we can really, it softens up maybe the one that's at the very bottom layer.
You do that one pumpkin with a really pretty fall florals coming out of it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's in the spare bedroom closet. Oh no, I gave it away. I gave it away. This year, my brother had no fall decorations and he was like, I need something with a little bit of floral. And I'm like, I have the perfect thing. Because we don't sell the florals, like the arrangements we make, we just gift them. Because they're too hard to ship. Because I want them to look as good. And you just never know. You could pack them with the best possible intentions and sadly, they don't arrive the same way. Yeah, I like the fact it still has a lot of the silver, like in the starfish, around her outside. Yeah. Yep, this is my last layer. So working out any of the last ones.
Yeah, I like the dark blues in there.
Doesn't that look so pretty though? I mean, it's got a glare on it from our overhead lights, but if you see it down this way, it's kind of hard for you to see. The very bottom half. I'm trying to do that. So you can kind of see. It looks really super good.
Because you did a matte, it doesn't glow, so it's good.
Right. And because our pumpkin's matte, you don't want to do a gloss when your pumpkin's matte. It just really creates this weird look, like your pumpkin's shiny, and then your decoupage is not.
Maybe she actually got these a while ago, but she just searched them on Etsy. So you could just type in beach napkins. You can do it on Amazon, probably even Oriental Trading Company, cover different places.
Believe it or not, just go to Etsy and just type napkins. Now you'll start looking at napkins at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh my God, I could pick up a pack of that. You know, use it in some sort of design. You can do it on a floral that you have. But
There you go.
yeah, pretty much. And just like that, we're pretty much done. So this is the last weekend, everyone, for the private group open enrollment. So if you have not had the chance to go on over and sign up, it's $17 a month. You get the business side of things and you get the creative side of things. You get discounts from craft vendors that we've negotiated arrangements with, like Personalize It by Pam, Jane's Front Door Decor, Three Birds Nest, Kringle Designs, Pinky Jub. Trying to think if there's anything else. You get materials list for everything that we do in both the public and the private group, which allows you to be able to shop from that list. Plus you get 4 design tutorials and 4 business classes, which are not just like business. You know, if you've ever wanted to become a master at Instagram Reels or Instagram Stories or Pinterest, those are all part of our business class side. So join at KatsCreationsNMore.com because Monday the cart closes. So Steve's pinned it to the bottom for you.
Diane said they do napkins on bricks.
There's a ton of people that do them in a... Do you use the Mod Podge for that on the bricks too? I'm almost positive if you did this on a flat surface, it would work so much better than an oval or circular.
That still looks great.
But yeah, this is super gorgeous. And I wanted to go low because when it sits down at the bottom, we're going to be cutting into the top of our pumpkin to put our floral in. But then you're going to have the whole rest of the pumpkin, which won't look like a pumpkin by the time we're done. By the time we remove the top, it's just going to look like a really nice lightweight, because it's hollow, with just our floral, our sea floral kind of spilling out over the top. So
she said yes, she does actual bricks and then she sprays them.
Nice. Okay, very good. So make sure you guys sign up because the prices are going up when the cart reopens again. I don't know when that'll be. So it's not going to be like it is right now, which is sign up whenever you want. You have until Monday and then the cart's closing.
But existing members, your rate stays the same.
Yep. And it doesn't matter even if you sign up now and you're like, well, you're raising your rates whenever your cart opens. Your rates are locked in. Even the yearly rate, if you decide to go yearly, you pay 10 months, you get the 2 months for free. And then when your renewal is up, you get to renew at that same rate that you paid when you signed up. Do you guys have any questions at all? I think I covered how to do it, how to match it if you wanted to keep going, how to separate your napkin layers, how to seal it when you were all finished. The brush cleans up really nice since Mod Podge is water-based. This is just going to rinse out perfectly fine, and then I'll keep going with this particular design. And then you'll have to come back and watch when we add our, what do you call it? The florals to the top. But hopefully you guys like this design. It's something new. It gives you another, what do you call it? There's a media to work with.
Medium.
Yeah. So whether or not you want to do your florals, you can do this with Easter napkins. I know Hobby Lobby has some of their Easter stuff out now, or even Valentine's Day. It's a really nice look that you can put together. And then you have something that we're recycling. Obviously, we're not using this for Halloween or fall. We're going to be able to do this. And then if you have people who have beach decor in their home year round, they're going to like the fact that you've incorporated something fall-like with a beach theme that they can keep in their house, especially during the fall.
Yes, Margarita, monthly stays the same if you're already a member.
Yep. Nothing changes for you. Just as long as you stay current, everything stays the same. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a blessed weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and I will see you guys on Sunday. Bye, everyone.